King Andrias is a popular character in Amphibia, and because of that, a lot of people hope to see him turn good and redeemed by the end of the season. And while you don't need to redeem a character for them to be likable, after last week's episode I got thinking about King Andrias and thought now would be a good time to talk about everything we know about him, as well as what I think it may say about him, which is that he may actually be a very good person being led astray despite how brutal he is willing to be. My name is Deepcut, welcome back to Cartoon Universe, and hit that subscribe button because we're making lots of Amphibia content as we race towards the series finale, and afterwards we'll be doing an interview with the cast of Amphibia and the series creator Matt Braley, and you won't want to miss hearing his and the voice actor's final thoughts about the show. Andrias is different from the other newts in that he is extra large and seemingly longer living. These two traits likely led his family to being the rulers of Amphibia, but we don't really know what his relation to the smaller, more common newt really is. In true colors, when we start to see his villainous side, Andrias describes his ancestors as being great conquerors, but still describes Newtopia as being beautiful and prosperous under his rule. And in the Season 3B teaser, we can see that this prosperous rule started under his father, who still sat on the throne 1,000 years ago, before the Calamity Box was stolen. When Andrias gets the box back, however, everything surrounding Newtopia is being destroyed, and it's not the beautiful place it was 1,000 years ago, or even just before getting the music box, so something about Andrias' story doesn't make sense. While we know for certain that the newts were not afraid to conquer others, I don't think they started as evil as they became. Olivia makes it clear to Yunnan that the ghosts in the castle are the prisoners from dimensions invaded by their ancestors, but Andrias reveals that they only really had interest in these shadowfish, as he calls them, because they wanted to study how to survive death like they seemingly do. The newts seem to rule for long periods, thousands of years or so, but wanted a sense of immortality so they can continue ruling for eternity. But that doesn't necessarily mean they wanted to rule with an iron fist the way King Andrias is building towards right now. Instead, I think that the newt royal history might be one that is very balanced as rulers, not entirely peaceful, but not the ruthless conquerors that Andrias makes them out to be. But something changed, causing Andrias' friends to leave, and one of them, the pink frog, to steal the Calamity Box. When the Mother of Olms meets the planters in last week's episode, she talks about how she hasn't seen another frog in 1,000 years, meaning it was likely the pink frog who came to visit her. After learning about the prophecy, this pink frog decided to take the music box and flee to the human world so that the prophecy could one day come true. With 1,000 years until the humans would use it to return to Amphibia, she would write messages on everything she could, hoping some of the pottery and such would survive to the modern age in order to pass a message on to whoever uses the Calamity Box. This raises the question of what the pink frog may have seen while with Andrias that made her turn away from him and trust the prophecy of the Mother of Olms instead. The shadowfish taught the family of Andrias how to create the core, a sort of robotic device that combines all the minds of the great conquerors of the Leviathan family line, which has since been guiding Andrias, trying to shape him to be more ruthless, insulting him anytime he fails, and insisting he do things even he considers too dark for them. Considering that Andrias was able to make friends with frogs and toads, I would imagine he is a more peaceful nature than his ancestors, but that they were all more peaceful than Andrias thinks. He hears the core's words and thinks that's the way his ancestors always were, but the Mother of Olms talks about it like it's a corruption of Amphibia's feelings, and therefore it acts as what it is, an insane mishmash of consciousness that knows no sleep or rest or peace, so its worst feelings always bubble to the surface. Andrias may not have even known about the core until he was old enough to rule after his father, at which point the core would have become entirely corrupt and ready to start using the Calamity Box not just to conquer other worlds like the ancestors wanted, but to destroy them, constantly using up every world's resources for the sake of conquering more worlds until there are no worlds left. It was likely learning about the core that made the pink frog flee with the Calamity Box, as theorized earlier. The Mother of Olms depicts a final battle between the Calamity Girls in their super forms against a giant frog that I previously theorized to be a bit of a robot, but according to Matt Braley himself on Twitter, a fan theory speculating that the frog is a manifestation of Amphibia's worst traits got it right. Though, like the core, this could still be made of machine, but it's entirely possible it will manifest as a very real, very alive giant frog, so who knows. Regardless, I see the series building to Andrias realizing he was wrong and turning against the core to save Marcy, giving him a chance to redeem himself by saving the multiverse from an evil entity that really existed long before he did and took advantage of how little he may have known about his own family history, turning them from pretty standard conquerors to the ultimate evil of the multiverse. But what do you guys think? Let me know in a comment down below, and once again, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss more of our Amphibia content, or our livestream interview with the cast of Amphibia and Matt Braley after the season finale airs next month in May. See you guys there.